Don't remember the Alamo, don't rock out in the live music capital of the world, and don't plan to attend a Cowboys game. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Houston, we actually have a problem. Texas is a huge state that is often seen as a tourist's dream, but somehow Houston managed to exempt itself from all things good. San Antonio has a river walk and the Alamo, while Austin is known for its artsy vibes and capital city prestige. Even Lockhart gets famous for its barbecue. But Houston? Well, it is famous for being boring, hot, and crime-ridden, maybe? Sorry, Houston, but you've got little going for you. Here are the top 10 reasons why travelers will hate going to Houston. Stay tuned until the end, where we'll offer a few redeeming qualities for those brave enough to head south, or for those of you who are sent there for a work conference against your will. Here we go. Number 10 is the heat, and not in a "it's August, so obviously it'll be hot" sort of way. Houston boasts record highs of 109 degrees and humidity so humid that it's beyond the recommended amount for human habitation. That's right, Houston has an average of 75% humidity. For perspective, the ideal levels for humans are 30 to 50%, and mind you that 75% is the yearly average. It sits at 90% for most of the summer. Because humidity reduces the body's ability to sweat, which is our natural cooling method, the humidity makes the temperature feel up to 5 degrees hotter than it is. Still want to visit Houston? Then keep checking that government website because heat warnings are likely to happen, recommending that you stay indoors, which is where you will want to be anyway to avoid being swallowed by the hot, wet blanket of Houston's heat. Number 9 are the natural disasters. The deadliest hurricane to ever hit the US was in 1900 and killed 6,000 people in the famous Galveston storm. And hurricanes certainly aren't history for Houston, as Harvey and Ike also wreaked havoc in the area just in the past 15 years, killing over 200 people and costing nearly $200 billion in damages. So from June 1st until the end of November, be leery. Maybe hurricanes don't scare you since you have about a week's warning to plan and evacuate. Well, the natural destruction of Houston doesn't stop there. Tornadoes also afflict the city with over 246 tornadoes in the last 50 years. No time to plan for one of those. They also get tropical storms, which are hurricane light, but still disastrous if you've planned a nice vacation. Thunderstorms, floods, and wildfires are also looming throughout the city. Houston is basically a disaster waiting to happen. The only thing more scary than a natural disaster is number 8 on this list, the traffic. You expect delays in New York City, Los Angeles, and even Washington, D.C. But Houston is the 9th worst city for traffic in the nation, and it's the only city in Texas to make the list. Another study from 2021 ranking it as the 3rd worst city for traffic, trailing behind only New York and Boston. The average Houstonian spends 49 hours a year in traffic. That's 2 full days and 1 hour of the year spent sitting in your car, not moving, waiting for other commuters to look forward and drive. At least if you are at a complete stop, you will be safe, right? Wrong. Houston was also ranked the 10th deadliest city for car fatalities, with the number of car accident-related deaths on the rise. Speaking of traffic, the traffic is likely so bad because of number 7, which is lack of efficient public transportation. If you plan a vacation to the boring city of Houston, then you will have to plan on renting a car or driving your own. You would think that the 4th largest city in the US and the home to NASA would have public transportation that was useful. Houston can send people across the universe in a rocket, but can't get people across the city in a bus. Getting around Houston is not easy, especially in a city that is 665 square miles with a population of 2.3 million people. Of this population, roughly 21.2% live below the poverty line. This means they are impacted harder by the rising gas costs. For such a big area and such a big population, however, there are only 3 metro rail lines that stretch across about 23 miles of the inner 610 loop. As for tourists, have fun sitting in traffic because while it does exist, The public transit is antiquated and inefficient for a decent vacation. Number 6 is that there's nothing to do. Yep, boredom. Now, to be clear, NASA is pretty cool, and then you're done. There's a zoo and a few museums, but nothing unique to Houston. Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, and El Paso all have zoos. There is an aquarium, but most big cities have an aquarium. The beach? Nope. The best beaches in Houston are not in Houston, they are an hour away. Surfside Beach is sometimes listed under things to do in Houston, but at an hour away, that's like saying things to do in Baltimore include Washington, D.C. Sorry, Houston, but that just doesn't cut it. Houston does share a title with the likes of European cities Brussels and Zurich. All share the honor as the top 5 most boring cities on Earth. On a scale from Houston to Vegas, TripAdvisor critics have given Houston reviews at 1 whole star when it comes to vacationing in Houston. In a state like Texas that has such a big personality, it's shocking that Houston is so bland. Number 5 is the city layout. Houston is one of the only major cities in the US without zoning laws. This leads to multiple downtowns, expansive sprawl, and a lack of geographical uniqueness. The city's laissez-faire approach means that the city is a mix of residential, industrial, and commercial buildings haphazardly dotting the city. This creates not only a pedestrian's nightmare, but a traveler's as well. Good luck getting from one attraction to another. And we use the word attraction quite loosely. Under the city's current code, no parcel of land is restricted for any particular land use, and in many such cases there are no density or height restrictions either. So an adorable one-story historic bungalow is now dwarfed by a densely populated high-rise apartment complex. Residents very unaffectionately refer to these high-rise monstrosities as towers of traffic. The towers of traffic have done little to reduce the homeless crisis, which comes in at number 4. Most of America's big cities are seeing an increased homelessness as the post-pandemic inflation soars and housing prices are outpacing those that gentrified the area in the first place. While American addiction centers cite drug use as one of the leading causes of homelessness, the Houston Coalition for the Homeless says that in Houston, drugs account for only 10% of the homeless locally. Here is a nod to Houston. It has come leaps and bounds in providing services for its homeless population. In 2021 alone, more than 21,000 people accessed some type of homeless service, and when you include prevention and other services like clothing or food assistance, the number jumps to more than 52,000 people. And while this all bodes well for the Bayou City, it still has a crisis. People may be willing to overlook the crisis in a city like San Francisco, but not so much in Houston. Number 3 is the crime. Houston has the 3rd highest number of murders in the United States after Baltimore and Chicago. Chicago. Not a city you want to share a crime statistic with. The city is also a hub for drugs and prostitution. It has over 9,000 burglaries annually, and its expansive layout makes it hard to track patterns. The city also has 4 interstates, which make getting in and out of the city easy for transient criminals. To make matters worse, Houston has one of the greatest number of police vacancies in America. All sectors of crime are up and on the rise. With only 5,300 officers to patrol 2.3 million people, that comes in at way less than half of the officers that patrol Chicago, which has a similar problem. When eager travelers sit before a spinning globe, they rarely dream about a city where they can face a higher than average chance of being murdered. Sorry, Houston, but you still have a problem. Number 2 are the toll roads. Since public transit is a bust, you will likely be visiting in a car, so in addition to the soaring gas prices, you will also be hit with toll after toll after toll after toll. There are 15 toll roads in Houston, with Fort Bend Parkway ranking as the most expensive toll road in America. And that says a lot, since the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York City can set you back $17 one way, and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel in Virginia can set you back up to $15 one way. The worst part of the Texas toll system is how vehemently they will go after you for minor violations. TripAdvisor is riddled with complaints about people who were given court summons for minuscule toll infractions. If you don't have one of the mini toll passes, it can be easy to drive through without realizing it. So be careful, because even if you owe $3 in tolls, you might find yourself with over $20 in fines and a letter to appear in court. If you are renting a car, be sure to check with your rental agency on how they charge for toll fees and which roads you can go on with their toll tags. You've been warned. Coming in at lucky number 1 is the smog and pollution. Hold my beer, Los Angeles, because Houston is challenging your reputation for polluted air. Houston ranks as the 6th most polluted city in America. It has maintained its status as the energy capital of the world, with the city's oil refineries maintaining a thriving economy, but unfortunately the lack of zoning sees many of the refineries in close proximity to residential neighborhoods, which has created environmental concerns and cancer clusters in some of Houston's densely populated areas. Most of Houston's air quality is listed near the Environmental Protection Agency's action level, and its score is double that of what is recommended by the World Health Organization. If Houston is so bad, then why does it see over 20 million tourists a year? There must be some redeeming qualities. For starters, it is one of the most diverse cities in America. As with many diverse cities, this comes with a lot of culture and great food. You can get authentic Argentina empanadas, Czech kolaches, duck gumbo, and Vietnamese barbecue fusion all in Houston, made by Houstonians who hail from around the globe. And while Houston may not have many unique attractions to call its own, one cannot ignore NASA. The Space Center is only found in Houston, and you can learn all about human space exploration from the very place that made it possible. So next time you spin the globe and let your finger land on a random city, think twice before heading to Houston. Then again, it may just be the city for you if you love tolls, traffic, heat, humidity, crime, and boredom. Are you from Houston? Let us know why you think we should, or should not, come to your city.